Am I the asshole for refusing to let my in-laws see my daughter after what they did during her birth? I, 29F, recently gave birth to my first child, a beautiful baby girl named Lily. My husband, 32M, and I have been over the moon, but our joy was ruined by an incident with my in-laws that I can't get over. For context, my mother-in-law, Karen, 58F, and father-in-law, Bob, 60M, have always been overbearing and intrusive, but my husband and I have tried to keep the peace. Throughout my pregnancy, Karen constantly criticized my choices, from my diet to my birth plan. She insisted on being in the delivery room, which I firmly declined. She threw a fit, claiming she had every right to be there as the grandmother, but I stood my ground. When I went into labor, my husband and I headed to the hospital. Everything was progressing normally until I was about to start pushing. That's when the door burst open, and Karen and Bob barged in, having lied to the nurses to gain access. I was in the middle of a contraction, in immense pain, and suddenly had my in-laws in my face, shouting encouragement, and trying to film the birth on their phones. I was mortified and enraged. I screamed at them to get out, but they refused, saying they had a right to be there. My husband tried to get him to leave, but they wouldn't budge. The nurses and the other hospital staff had to physically remove them from the room. This caused such a commotion that my labor stalled, and I ended up needing an emergency C-section due to the stress and delay they caused. After Lily was born, Karen and Bob were unapologetic. They actually had the nerve to post about the birth on social media, including pictures they took during the chaos, without our consent. They announced her name and details before we had a chance to, and even worse, they shared a picture of me they clicked while I was in the delivery room earlier, before the emergency C-section, trying to push. I was pissed and heartbroken. This was supposed to be a private, special moment for my husband and me, and they completely violated that. I decided then and there that they wouldn't see Lily until they showed genuine remorse and apologized. When we got home from the hospital, they demanded to visit. I told them they were not welcome and explained why. Karen blew up, saying I was being cruel and a bitch, denying them their rights as grandparents. My husband is supportive but torn because they are his parents. They've since started a smear campaign against me to the rest of the family, painting me as the villain who's keeping the grandchild away for no good reason. Now, I'm getting calls and messages from extended family, from husband's side, accusing me of being heartless and unforgiving. They say I should put it behind me for the sake of family harmony, but I can't. Also, my husband's two sisters are saying that if they were kind enough to forgive me after I threw a hissy fit, and embarrassed and insulted them by getting him thrown out or the delivery room, then I should forgive them too. Every time I think about what they did, I get so angry and upset. I don't trust them, and I don't want them around my daughter until they truly understand and regret the pain they caused. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my in-laws see my daughter after what they did during her birth? Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé that I would leave our family if we got pregnant again? I, 30F, told my 37M fiancé, boyfriend that I would leave him. Background: we've been together for 8 years. We have 2 kids, age 2 and 9 months. We both work full-time jobs. He works days and I work nights. We don't send our kids to daycare. Therefore, we switch off caring for our kiddos while the other is at work. There are some days when I get off work at 7 a.m. after working a 12-hour shift and then have to care for our kids during the daytime. He never has to watch them solo right after work. I have been mentally and physically exhausted. Between breastfeeding, pumping, working sometimes up to 60-hour weeks and potty training my toddler, I am cooked. There have been days where I have bawled my eyes out due to stress. We really don't have family or friends that are available to help with the kids. I do 70% of the housework, laundry, cooking, grocery shopping, bathing kiddos, sweep, mop, you get it. Our first baby was planned. I was finishing up my degree full-time while working full-time and literally gave birth a month after I graduated with my bachelor's. Our second baby was a surprise and I really struggled to bond with her, as I didn't want her initially. My thoughts have now changed and I love my baby. I have had multiple conversations with him, explaining that I don't want any more kids. It's taxing on my body, mind and spirit. Prior to having my second baby, we both agreed that if I had a C-section, I would get my tubes tied during the delivery. If I had a vaginal birth, which I did, he agreed to get a vasectomy shortly after I had my baby. This was back in October 2023. It is now July 2024 and guess who is still not snipped? I've asked him multiple times over the last couple of months and after breaking down many walls, he declared that he is nervous about his dick not working anymore. I understand this is a true concern for him, but I have asked him to consider what I have and will go through again if we were to have a third baby. We are currently using condoms and LH strips to track ovulation and avoiding intimacy during those risky times. But the other day, we had a malfunction with the condom and I had to take a plan B and pray. Luckily, the Red Sea came, but I can't feel this anxiety every month. It makes me not want to have sex if a kid is the risk. I know my limits when it comes to being a parent. I am doing my best with 2 kiddos. But 3 kiddos would send me over the edge. The other night at the dinner, vasectomy came up again and he made excuses. I told him that I wasn't gonna bring it up anymore, but I needed to say my last piece. I'm letting you know now. If I was to become pregnant again due to your lack of action to get snipped, I will leave you and the kiddos here. Alone. I will send money from afar, but I would have to leave. We would be done. He was shocked and hurt by my comment, but I am fucking serious. He asked, "You would really leave us?" And I said yes. I'm not happy to say this, but I have been depressed and had bad thoughts about harming myself and kids during those very difficult times. I have worked hard to be better and silence those thoughts, but I know that having a third kid would cause those thoughts and stress to flood back in. So, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not punishing my daughter for what she said? My husband and I are slightly more well off than my sister's family. Because of this, my parents do more for them than they do us. When it comes to gifts, my daughter, Maddie 7, get things from the dollar store while my nephews get whole Lego sets, iPads and even Disney trips. If my sister needs babysitting, they will drop everything for her last minute. If I need it, I have to give them a 2 weeks heads up as well as proper payment. Because of this clear favoritism, my daughter doesn't have a good relationship with them. If you ask her about her grandparents, her mind automatically goes to my husband's parents because she forgets that she has 2 pairs. Earlier today we having a rare meet-up with my parents. My daughter asked if she can go on the trampoline outside. My dad said no because it's for my nephews. My daughter begged, but dad still said no. Maddie then stomps away and said this is why I like other grandma and grandpa more. My parents looked at me expectantly, but I didn't do anything. I recently got off a call with my mom saying I should have told Maddie that was wrong to say. I told her, what do you expect? She thinks y'all hate her and y'all do nothing to dispel those thoughts. She just got quiet for a bit, then said I still shouldn't let her say something like that to family and hung up. My husband is on my side, but he also isn't a fan of my family, so I need an outside opinion. AITA. Edit. To make some of you feel better, we don't bring her around them often. She only sees them on holidays with the rest of our extended family. We were only visiting today to get something I was left in a will. As for babysitting, I have only asked twice in extreme emergencies and they said no. I have talked to them about this, but they say it's not favoritism, she just needs less help because we are better off. Update. Just got off the phone with my uncle. Apparently dad called him ranting about how disrespectful we are. Apparently this all stems from me going to college. Dad said since I had to be all hoity-toity and go to college, I shouldn't need his help and I should be living the easy life. He also said I'm selfish for trying to take help away from those who need it. Not sure what to think about all that. He's never brought up having a problem with that before. I'm going to discuss this with the rest of the family because with the holidays approaching I don't want to cut everybody else out to avoid them. So I'm going to ask how they feel about all this. One user said, NTA for not punishing your daughter, But why do you force her to be around your parents when she clearly knows they favor her cousins? Why was she the one to point out the favoritism? As her parent, you should have been reprimanding your parents for their treatment of your child. Maddie deserves grandparents who appreciate her, and if she can't have that, she should at least have a mom who sticks up for her. Go low contact with your parents until they're ready to treat all the grandkids equally. OP replied, I've spoken to them several times and the excuse is always that it's because we make more money. As for why we still see them, it's mostly for holidays and special occasions when the whole extended family is around. We only visited today to take care of some legal stuff. As more Maddie, this is the first time she's said anything negative about them,